All right. Hey, YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's news story, we're going to be talking about Destiny 2 hitting a substantial loss in player population and having issues with player retention. Now, I want to preface this video by saying we're not starting the conversation of Destiny is dead or Destiny is a dying game or whatever it may be. We're just simply talking about the numbers, looking at the population dropping and player retention becoming an issue, particularly with this season in Destiny 2. True Vanguard made this video, which I watched and I thought it was really good, and he highlights a lot of these issues, but we're going to be talking about a whole other slew of issues along with this. Down below here, you can see the population charts. We've got August 23rd to October 16th. You can see a huge drop in population, and if we compare that to last year, you'll actually notice that the population is higher in terms of the percentage of players retained from the launch of the new season till now. And the last season launched exactly in 2021 at the same time during August. So it's a very good comparison from year to year to see the difference. Now, there could be a whole slew of other factors, but it would seem with a 40% drop in comparison to last year's season launch to at this point in October, with a 40% drop, that's pretty steep. And a lot of people are not enjoying this season in Destiny 2. If you aren't enjoying it, feel free to comment down below your criticisms. Try to keep it fair, try to keep it constructive. You know, don't need to bash Bungie in any regard, but try to give some fair criticism and constructive criticism rather, in regards to why you're not enjoying the season. And credit to Shadow for that tweet. That was a really interesting tweet on the population charts there. The last bit we'll be talking about with this in terms of population issues and data, because I want to bring some serious data to the table, is the trials population. You know that I make the trials meta report every week, or try to make it every week, where I talk about the most popular weapons and the player base. And last week was one of the lowest player base weekends we've seen in a while, with 206,000 players. Almost the lowest week, I think, since the revamp. And certainly with several more weeks left in this season, we will probably see a dip below 200,000 this season, which is sad to see. Obviously, we don't want to see the consistent decline of the player base of Trials, but there's a lot of issues, and that's what I want to cover starting right now with this video. Is what are the issues? What are the things that Bungie needs to work on? I've seen in True Vanguard's video, and many other people have been talking about the seasonal model becoming very monotonous and repetitive. And while I do agree with that it has become repetitive, I do think that it's hard to see Destiny 2 without the seasonal model. Obviously, it did exist for a long time without it in the past, and I did kind of like the element of surprise to certain things, but I think that the seasonal model does add some mainstream appeal to it. So I do see some positives to the seasonal model. I don't think that it needs to go completely. I just think that for the veteran players, for the regular players, the seasonal model does seem a bit exhausting, and you know what to look for, and you're kind of bored right off the start almost. You're like, okay, well, I'm not going to be too excited this week, you know, or that week's going to be boring, or this week is, you can map out the whole season and be like, this is the nightfall, and this is the nightfall loot this season, and so on and so forth. So I think there are issues with the seasonal model, and Bungie has done an interesting job where they haven't been as transparent with the seasonal model as they have been in the past. I'm not sure if that's to deter away from that, but overall, I do see a lot of issues with the seasonal model. Let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments below. One of my biggest issues is too many chores in the game. I feel like when I'm logging into Destiny 2, I'm doing so many chores. And I know that this could be an issue of, you know, playing the game for so long and having so many thousands of hours now that nothing is really exciting or interesting, and everything feels chore-like because you've played the game so much. And I do try to give credit to that I have played the game so much that it will feel a little more chore-like. But it feels a little bit too much like that. It feels like you have to log in and beat your bounties and get your pinnacles, and it's a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. And even though new players, this will be exciting and new and refreshing and interesting, for the veteran players, it feels like we've done this 1,000 times. And I feel like there are just too many chores when it comes to playing Destiny 2. It feels like almost the entirety of the game now is largely chores, more than chasing after exciting loot and utilizing fun builds and stuff. Those are definitely, you know, things that you get to at time, but you have to do a lot of chores to get to that point. Another issue I think that is making a lot of players lose interest in Destiny 2, and the reason why we're seeing player retention issues are just simple things that Destiny 2 should have at this point in time. We now have a collaboration with Fortnite, right? We've got Destiny characters in Fortnite, so we have been put on the biggest platform. We are the looter shooter game. Destiny 2 is the definitive looter shooter game. So that while we have been the bar has been raised, we need to match that with having the things that all the other big name games have. Like we need map voting in PvP, right? A lot of people dislike a lot of maps. Players quitting is a huge issue. Bungie had to issue a quitter's penalty in the quick play playlist. The casual playlist has a quitter's penalty because people back out because a whole slew of issues, but I would think a large issue is because they just don't like the maps that are being brought into rotation. Give us map voting so we can choose which map we want to play. It seems like a very simple system. We're sitting there and waiting in queue for a long time anyways while we're trying to fill out the party of 12, right? There should be no issue with having map voting, and it's just something that's in so many other games at this point in time. It's almost silly that we don't have it at this point in time. Dedicated servers is one that I'm going to bring up, but I know that this is a big issue that Bungie has at least glossed over a few times. But as I see more and more latency issues, I do this Reddit reactions thing at the end of every stream where I watch the most viral clips on Reddit and elsewhere. And I noticed that almost every day there is a top trending clip of someone doing some crazy stuff like rubber banding across the map. And obviously this could be issues of people latency living across the world. This could be issues of net limiting and stuff like that. But you just see it so often now that I can't help but feel like dedicated servers would be very, very helpful to alleviate that issue. We need dedicated servers at some point in time. I don't know why we're going to wait until the player base is so low to launch something like that, but we definitely need dedicated servers and map voting. And Bungie should try to do a seasonal thing where each season they give PvP players one of these like core fundamental things. Like next season, PvP players, you can look forward to map voting. Next season after that, it will be dedicated servers. Next season after that, it will be insert something that keeps PvP players excited. And obviously it's not just a PvP player issue, and I'm going to talk about PvE stuff. There's just so many bugs and when it comes to PvE now. And this has been highlighted to me now more than ever before because of doing solo grandmasters. And I know it sounds kind of like a weird thing, like what does solo grandmasters have to do with bugs in PvE, right? When you do solo grandmasters, it highlights the issues so much more because you individually have to do every mechanic in the game. You have to clear all the ads, you have to interact with everything, you have to kill all the champions. And when you do so, you realize there are just so many bugs and so many issues in the game. It's kind of hilarious, but also scary because from top to bottom, there's a bug in almost every room and every encounter with every weapon, with almost everything in the game. There is a bug to some degree, and it is kind of scary. The bugs are becoming crazy, especially lately. I was doing the solo GM and the saber strike, and the champ bugs for the overload was so bizarre. They get stunned and just run off and stuff. It's crazy. And don't even get me started with champions and champion fatigue, right? Why is it that there's so many champions in the Glassway GM? 16 champions in Glassway is a bit excessive. It feels like artificial difficulty added by Bungie, right? We don't need just throw a bunch of champions at us to make something difficult. That's not real difficulty in challenging content for Destiny 2. That's like it just feels cheap, right? And there's a lot of other issues going on in PvE, but I think those are some of the biggest issues are bugs and champion fatigue, especially in challenging content. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And I want to end this video there because I don't want this to be too much of a rant or an exhaustive video. I do love Destiny 2. I'm going to continue to play it. I do love the community, and I just hope that this advice and these ideas are heard to open ears and that the Bungie devs actually work on these things, because I think that these are serious issues that Bungie should work on. And clearly they do pay attention to the population, and they're going to be trying to make some big adjustments soon here with a 40% decline from last October to this October. They're going to be making some big issues and some big changes very soon here. So I'm excited to see what they come up with. And that's a wrap on this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.